Welcome to my actual real home kitchen. This is it right here. This is where I make pancakes, fry bacon, wash the dishes, everything. This is the real deal. I think because I'm a chef, I see the kitchen first and foremost as a place of function. And form has to follow that function. And not just to function, but to function for me. You know, I'm the cook, I'm the guy that washes the dishes, I might as well make it work for me. There's some very straightforward basics when it comes to kitchen design. We all know about the triangle between the fridge, the stove, and the sink. And in my case, that triangle can be a little bit bigger. I'm a big guy, I can cover a lot of ground. As well, the height of the counters is very important for a tall guy like me. So all my counters are at 37 inches, which is the North American standard. Although I do have 2 inches of more cutting blocks sitting on top of the butcher block. So I guess I'm at 39 inches. As a professional working chef, I brought with me into this design quite a few of the little features that sort of resonate within a working environment. Things like the GastroNorm pans that we use. These pans are industry standard for restaurants all over the world. They come in a whole bunch of different sizes, shapes, and they're very easy to sort of inset into these drawers. And they work great for holding on to the ingredients that I use almost every day. Things like stainless steel for my sink design, for my pegboard. I really like this pegboard. It's a great way to organize all my tools and you just know where things are. You don't lose them that way. It's a great place for all your gizmos and gadgets. My knife rack, for instance, every single one of those knives has a story to tell. For years and years, I imagined having all those knives out on display. So I guess it's a chef thing, but it works for me. Things like a spice library and an open pantry. Herbs and spices are a very big part of how I cook, and I'm fascinated by them. I'm fascinated by their stories. I've traveled all over the world looking for herbs and spices, so that's why I put them on display in what I call my spice library. For me, the pantry is very important. My creative process is really facilitated by being able to see the food that I'm working with. I think it's inherent in any artistic process. You want to see your raw ingredients. And in particular, I really like the way GCW clad the outside of the pantry with my collection of old wine crates. I've been collecting these things for years and years, 20 plus years, and I never knew what I was going to do with them. And then somehow I showed it to those guys, and next thing you know, they used it to clad the pantry, and I love what GCW did. This cooling rack is a really cool feature. Having this located right next to the oven, it's so easy to take a tray of cookies out, just slip it right in, or it's also a good place to store the trays that end up in this oven. I think all of us these days are focused on local connections, food connections, but in this kitchen, it's not just food connections, it's also artist connections. In other words, I'm surrounded by a few different artists that have done some work here on Prince Edward Island and contributed to the design of this kitchen. Things from my pot rack, for instance, done by a local designer. His name is Bill Dowling. He works in iron. He did a great job. My stainless steel sink built up the road at a plant for fishing industry, things like that. The stained glass in my window. The barnboard that you see all came off an old barn that fell down in the winter last year. And all of those are things that I look at and they ground me. They make me feel at home and as if I'm part of what's around me. Every one of these clocks has a meaning. Hatteras, North Carolina is my favorite place in the world to go kite sailing. Hyde Park, New York is where I went to the Culinary Institute of America. Kingston, Ontario is where I opened my very first burger joint, the Canadian Grilling Company. Fortune, Prince Edward Island is where I live. Chiang Mai, Thailand, I think is where I had the very best street food I've ever had in my life. Hyde Park, London, England is where I did my Michelin 3-star apprenticeship. And Kenya is a place that means a lot to us. We work very hard every year to build cookhouses in rural Kenya. I think like most kitchens in the Maritimes, this one is the heart of the home. It's certainly where we congregate. For instance, in the morning, you know, we might be making pancakes and everybody sort of pitches in. Ariel is 4, so she's in charge of cracking the eggs. Gabe's 10, so he's really good at flipping pancakes. And we'll eat breakfast right here in the kitchen. If we have a house party, it's always right here in the kitchen. I think one of the key steps to building a kitchen is working with a good design team, somebody that you trust, somebody that you can actually work with. And too often that relationship is about somebody else telling you what you should be doing in your own home. And I have to say, working with GCW in St. Thomas, Ontario was such a dream because they're not like that at all. They've got this amazing trove of experience and great ideas, and they're so easy to work together with, and I think the results speak for themselves. And I think for me, this kitchen represented the opportunity to finally, after 25 years of cooking all over the world, build for myself my all-time dream kitchen, and that's what this is.